Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for attending this presentation. Just a great chance to be able to catch up and talk a bit about what we see happening in our world and opportunities for us to be able to really create what we think is so important, is this reality of the customer experience of the future. My name's David Keane from Bigtincan, and I want to take you through a bit of a journey that leads to this new world of how we see life sciences changing and embracing this new customer experience. And as I've been listening to the presentations today, it's pretty clear that people are realizing how important it is to be able to be prepared and ready to engage with HCPs and other medical professionals that are, getting more and more informed themselves before they engage with a whole bunch of our customer-facing teams. So at Bigtincan, our vision has always been to create that customer experience of the future that delivers, of course, for both your customers and for the human beings in your teams. And I won't spend too much time talking about this, but our experience now of 10 years of working every day to help life sciences and other industrial leaders to solve this challenge has led us to the belief that we can create a new buying experience by focusing on how we help human beings be better prepared and more informed. And we think that buying experience of the future that is engaging, provides value, and guides the human beings to a better outcome is what really makes a difference in our world today. And what I wanted to do today on this presentation is take you through a bit of a journey of how this technology really works and where are some of the short-term things you can do to take advantage of a new approach to how we think about information to make this even more valuable. And before we do that, I'm going to take you through a live demonstration today to show you how this technology works. I think it's worthwhile just thinking a bit about what it is that's been holding us back from this new approach to being able to empower people. And certainly the pandemic has caused us to rethink a bunch of the things that we do. But of course, it's also causing significant strains and challenges for our teams and for the folks that we work with. And whether that's people being held back by the lack of the level of connection that maybe they had prior to the pandemic, the ability to be able to get direct coaching and feedback from their managers and think about the traditional learning programs that used to really work and used to deliver for our teams, right through to how we now engage in meetings being different, the importance of remote, the ability to be able to connect with folks in ways that simply weren't possible before, and even how we stick to the right messaging in those engagements that can actually be shorter and more limited than they were in the past. So this is our new world. And so what to use, how we use it, and who to use it with are big questions that we see life sciences leaders all around the world asking themselves and asking their teams. So to do that, you've heard a lot of this today, but we agree to solve that problem, you need a comprehensive platform that helps your teams be prepared with the right skills, the right materials, and the new ways to engage that actually make them more powerful in our new world. And at Bigtincan, we've committed ourselves, and we believe that if you can do that by building that on an intelligent platform that lets you connect the dots between those three critical pillars, how do you build skills, how do you connect people with information, and how do you connect your customers with your own teams, and do that in a way that gives you that unique insight into how people work, we think makes a difference, and we just believe it's essential. But it's got to be done, and this is something I would suggest you to think about when you're planning your own futures. It's got to be done in a way that makes that simple, that brings it together in what we've been calling a unified single pane of glass. But the concept that human beings in today's world, they can't handle the complexity of understanding multiple different systems. And when it comes to back-end delivery of that for IT folks, for the managers that are taking care of our customer-facing teams, that complexity is something that must go. So we're convinced that if we can create that combination of the right skills, the right material, and the right engagement, and we can do that in a way that brings it together, makes it simple to use, and helps to tell the story in better ways, that to us is one of the most simple ways you can begin creating that customer experience of the future for every engagement that your team has today. So I guess, what does that mean? How can we think about enabling that customer experience of the future? I think there's a couple of points. We've got 5 bullets here that I'd like to go through with you to give you some insights into what we've seen some of these leaders around the world share with us are ways that they're trying to create that. The first one on that list is digital training systems for safe and valuable engagements. There's no doubt, and we heard again a lot today about gee, how important it is to make sure we have the right managed, governed, secured, up-to-date, appropriate content that we're using in every engagement that we have. But at the same time, if we're not building the skills of the human beings to know how to use that material, how to engage with it, and how to transform the experience they're delivering to their customers based on that, they won't be as successful as they might want to be. And whether we think about that as microlearning and gamification or coaching and training, those principles apply, we believe, to how we ensure that we can meet our governance requirements, but also make every human being feel more connected to the products we sell and the impact they have for HCPs and for patients. We also need to think about how we do deliver content recommendations that connect with that. How can we ensure that we're only allowing reps to be able to access particular content once they've achieved certification or passed through the appropriate training? This concept that we can now gate access to information, we're hearing more and more, is so important. And it gives the teams a lot more confidence that they are delivering information in the right way. So we would urge you to think about how you can connect those things together. And of course, how we do that with beautiful interactive materials. I think that's always been the case in life sciences. It continues to be the case today. We need to constantly remind ourselves that it's not just what we present, but the way we present it that creates that buying experience that really ties people together. And I think that's a core part of how we think about it. And yeah, this idea that we can do that with a single unified view that makes it simple for both the users and, of course, our organization to be able to deploy and have it work. So let's talk today in this very short presentation about one way we can start together. And one of the simplest ways we can start is training and coaching that is truly remote and digital. And to talk about that, I'm going to give you a real live showcase of how we see that technology working and some examples of where that could work. And I'd love you to think about how this new way of thinking, this new way of working really could work for your teams. So now imagine I am a sales rep and I am working in a company and we've been introducing this new drug called Pulsatio. Now, Pulsatio is a new drug, and whilst it is very similar to other products we've had before, it does have different functions and different regulatory requirements as we think about bringing this to market. What you can see in front of you is a learning, training, coaching environment that unifies for this person. So here am I here, and just by the way, first of all, you can see I'm 13% through my qualification stage. So I actually have a lot of work to do to get qualified to really be able to bring this product to my customers. It's broken into courses, quizzes, and achievements. I'm going to come back to this in a minute. But what you can see here is that the right, appropriate skills development material is presented right for me in this single view that combines my selling skills, how I work inside the company, and of course, as we come down here, actual information on the particular products that I'm going to sell. Now, there's a lot more to this kind of micro-learning and gamified system that we'd love to get to, but we just want to share with you how much we're convinced, and we see this stuff work, that if you approach skill development, learning, training, and coaching in a new way, you can really change the world. Let's jump into an assignment, though, because the first thing I want to do is be able to be ready to bring this product to my customers. Now, I'm going to talk about, we have a multiple week flow here. We're going to jump right to week 3 and jump into our week 3 section and look at this assignment. Now, this assignment has been created for me so I can actually practice my pitch. Every human being needs to practice to feel confident and relaxed, particularly when they're dealing with products as important as Pulsatio. So this practice pitch is where I actually go through and I practice giving my first introduction of this product to a new medical team. I am able to do that via a bunch of different ways. I can upload a recording, I can send a video, I can do a whole bunch of different things. But before I do that, I can look at the Pulsatio toolkit to get prepared for this engagement. And with a single click, I can come into my toolkit and I can see this interactive content that's been prepared for me that takes me through the journey of what Pulsatio is, how I should think about its performance against placebos or other products, even to the point of being able to dive in and, hey, let's look at how it actually works. I can use my finger or my mouse to drag back the layers of this vein and artery to see how Pulsatio actually impacts the blood flow inside patients. I can look at how it works by clearing out that from a vertical view here. And I can even look at product and dosage information so I can get ready for my coaching assignment. And then when I'm ready, I perform that coaching assignment. Now, of course, in the interest of time, I'm going to look at some assignments we performed earlier. I'm going to jump down here and look at those. I'm going to have a look at this person here. And there's their practice pitch. So what I can see is happening here is not only do I have a little video, I'm going to run that video in the background for you, of that human being performing that personal practice story. Our system is able to use the power of data science to interpret what that person said and the impacts of the way they made the pitch. We can look at their vocal delivery, we can look at their strength of opening, we can even look at their clarity. And this system will give the person real-time feedback into areas they can improve before they continue their presentation. And this level of practice with direct feedback, given, yes, again, you can give access to other humans, coaches and managers to be able to provide that, but it's done by the system itself. And that means you can practice confidently as many times as you like to make sure that you are presenting in a way that is clear and understandable. Now, this system also performs what we call word spotting. This can be used in a number of ways. In this particular example here, we have some filler words, and we can see how many times this user used those filler words. But we can also use this to measure statements of fact. We can program into the system to recognize, is the user using words and phrases in the right way that keeps us in compliance with our legal requirements, but also ensures that we're presenting the product in the right way. The system will tell me how my pace was, did I do some upspeak, and it just really helps me to improve my personal performance. But what's really interesting about this technology is down the bottom here of this screen, where we look at what's called the vibes. And this has been a particularly important part of how we think about, particularly the life sciences market, is not only is it what you say, it's what is the impact of the way you say it. And we can help each and every person who's facing HCPs and other medical professionals to understand, again, what is the likely impact of what they're saying? Do they sound authentic when they're talking about this product? Are they captivating? Are they clear and confident? We can also look at negative vibes. We can make sure that nobody in our team is acting in a condescending, detached, or pushy or belligerent way. And this gives managers and team members tremendous confidence in their ability to be able to ensure they're giving their best possible engagement every time they speak to a customer. So again, yes, look, we think about this as one of the ways you can start to embrace this new customer experience of the future. And no matter how you think about the content and information you deliver, if you can ensure that every human is prepared, they're coached, they're trained, and they've done it in a way that is completely remote and digital, they can do on their phone, they can do on their computer, they can do as they see fit to improve their work, but also be guided down the path of improving. And there's a lot more you can do too to create this experience. You've heard a lot about centralized content today, but also the ability to be able to connect that to remote meetings that deliver for all stakeholders, that ensure you're able to get the insights of what happened in that meeting and take feedback from that and improve performance. So overall, yeah, we'd love to chat to you more about how these next generation technologies can help pharma sales teams to improve the way they work. And whether that's looking at this digital voice training systems and how they can deliver pitch perfect presentations, microlearning and gamification to ensure that you are delivering the right information and the right skills to the right person. So when they do engage, they're going to be prepared to be able to work with a customer who is also particularly prepared. And then how that connects to the AI-driven content recommendations for relevance that earn access. Talked about it before. How can you ensure that access to content is gated or managed by access to skills and learning? And a whole lot more. So again, thank you so much for giving us a chance to be able to present the Bigtincan story and how we see opportunities to be able to create this experience that really works for human beings today.